I'm Tom Serb, Director of the Midwest Music Academy. In this series of videos, we'll explore how music is written and how standard notation developed. The oldest known piece of written music is this tablet, a hymn to King Lipit-Ishtar, which dates to about 1950 BC. The actual music is pretty sketchy. It's instructions for how to tune a lyre for accompanying the song, and a description of the scale used for the melody. The second oldest piece of music is the oldest known melody, Hurrian Hymn No. 6. It's about 3,400 years old. Parts of this tablet describes tuning for a lyre, and scholars agree that another section describes the series of intervals used. But those same scholars have come up with at least 5 different interpretations of the melody. The first big advance in music notation came about 2,500 years ago. The ancient Greeks assigned a letter of the alphabet to each pitch. Fewer than 100 pieces of ancient Greek music are known to exist. The oldest is a papyrus fragment from about 200 BC, but the text is from the play Orestes by Euripides, who lived about 200 years earlier. 2 Delphic hymns date from around 130 BC, and this is the Sikelos epitaph, created in the 1st or 2nd century BC, and it is the oldest known complete piece of written music. The Greeks used a different letter for each pitch, and they used different letters for music that was vocal or instrumental. They restricted their melodies to about 2 octaves, which is about the range of a trained singer. The Romans continued the use of a 2-octave alphabet, but they used the same letter whether the music was vocal or instrumental. We know this and the relationships between Greek and Roman music because of the philosopher Boethius. In about 510 AD, he wrote the book De Musica, and in it he relates the first 14 letters of the Roman alphabet to the terms from Greek music theory. The next step cut the musical alphabet from 14 letters down to 7. We recognized that if we started a melody on the 8th note, it sounded exactly as if we had started on the 1st note, only higher. Because the Latin word for 8 is oct, we call this 8th note the octave, and we used the same letter name as we did for the 1st note. The musical alphabet that we use today is the 7 letters A through G. Once we get to G, the next letter is A, and we simply go through all the letters again. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. There's a variation of this alphabet used in some countries in Northern Europe. They use the letter H instead of the letter B, and they use B for the pitch that comes between A and H. I'll explore this more in a video on sharps and flats. Russia, Vietnam, Latin America, and some countries in Europe and the Middle East use a different musical alphabet called fixed do solfege. Solfege was developed in the 11th century by a Benedictine monk named Guido d'Arezzo. Guido noticed that the first 6 lines of a hymn to St. John the Baptist each began with a different pitch and started with a different syllable. So he used these syllables to name the pitches: ut, re, mi, fa, sol, la. The 7th note of the scale was called C from the initials for St. John, Sancti Johannes. The letter J wouldn't exist for another 3 centuries or so. Over the next couple of 100 years, we replaced ut with do, and those countries that used both solfege and the standard musical alphabet replaced C with T to avoid confusion with the letter C. But countries where solfege is the norm for naming notes still use C, so if you hear a musician say this song is in C, make sure you know what they mean. In the next video, we'll explore the musical staff and clefs. Until then, I'm Tom Serb from Midwest Music Academy.